It's kind of crazy to think how all four of the playoff games that we saw so far were all pretty great games, actually. I mean, the Texans game was in overtime. Then, you could say that the Titans game and the Eagles game weren't necessarily the greatest of games, but they did come down to one score. That came down to the final possession. And then also, of course, I thought the Vikings game was awesome. Again, another overtime game. So, two games were awesome, and the other two games were competitive, which honestly, usually all I ask for in playoff games is competitive games. So to get all four competitive and a couple seemingly instant classics, I think this wildcard weekend was all you could have asked for. But let's just talk about this game. Let's talk about what happened on that final drive. Really, I'm just going to talk about that final stand that the Seahawks defense had, how they were able to hold off the Philadelphia Eagles. I know it's Josh McCown, but actually, if you look at it, it wasn't really Josh McCown who was the problem. Like on this play, take a look at what's going to happen. So basically, this is going to be a play action, but the real thing I want you to take a look at is going to be the block that's going to go right there. The guy who's going to try to block Clowney on this one. That's Jason Peters, who's obviously a pretty good player. He's been for the Philadelphia Eagles for a long time. And after the ball is snapped, watch how he blocks Clowney. Clowney breaks to the inside. Peters does come back and actually push him a little bit higher up, but it's still not a great situation because obviously if this was a handoff, it would be an okay situation. But I think Clowney might have figured out that it was going to be play action, and that's why he broke to the inside because why else would he do that in that situation? So I think he might have figured out a tell and was able to get there. But now that he was able to do that, it's going to mean that for all we know, McCown could need some help. And he does have help. Sanders is there. Sanders is going to say, okay, I'm going to block on this play, no problem. I'll run over and try to block Clowney. As you see, that's where he's looking. But the problem is that there's another Seattle defender who's actually doing a much better job of trying to apply pressure here. I mean, watch, he's able to get almost completely free to McCown, and Sanders is just now realizing what's going on. Peters has been blocking Clowney to a degree, but this is a risky situation right now. However, both guys finish off their blocks, and McCown does a great job of stepping up. It's almost like stepping up in between the tackles, except this time it's stepping up in between the left tackle and the halfback, so kind of a weird situation there, but you know what? Okay, play still alive. Great job there by McCown. And in case you're wondering why I'm circling that, if you notice, there are three Philadelphia defenders who are blocking one Seattle player right here. So they're all three kind of just standing around. This is kind of something similar you would see in like a regular season play where it's like, listen, we don't have to keep blocking this entire thing. Obviously, it's probably not going to end up mattering. So I'll just sort of hold on to you a little bit. You don't make a move, and then we'll just keep going. However, you can do that in the regular season when it doesn't matter too much. But doing this with 4 minutes left in a playoff game, I mean, you got to just be blocking all the way because one of those guys should move up to block that Seattle linebacker right over there, and now you could potentially have some room for McCown to run, pick up some yards just potentially. Obviously, you couldn't start blocking until after McCown leaves the pocket, but at least you could try to get in position here. However, when McCown leaves the pocket, someone just totally screws up. It's actually Dallas Goedert, it looks like, who he totally just was not in position to make that block. He let himself get out of position because he didn't think it was going to matter, and that resulted in McCown getting sacked when McCown probably could have ran and picked up 5 yards or so, and that's a huge difference. I mean, a 9 yard difference in that play, that's just crucial. It can't happen. And, I mean, Goddard, he's a good player, but he screwed up there. And watch, this next play is another example of just someone not making a block. Basically, what's going to happen is that both of the guards are going to move out to block linebackers right there. So that's the way this play is going to work. However, after the ball is snapped, Matt Pryor does not do a great job of getting out there. I mean, if you see, I'll play it a couple times just so you can see. He doesn't get out cleanly. He got a little bumped right there, and now he's not going to be able to make his block. That allows KJ Wright to get completely free. He runs over and actually makes an incredible tackle to get Sanders to not really pick up much at all. And now it's third down. So, your two main guys, the two guys everyone is going to talk about, Miles Sanders and Josh McCown in this game, they kind of just had no chance on these plays because the first play, there was too much pressure, and then Goddard messed up. And now this play, it was an offensive lineman messing up. So you can't run the ball if you don't have room to run, and that's what happened on that play. So now you have a third down and 13, and so now you're in a rough spot. And here's what Philadelphia is going to do: they're going to say, you know what? I'd rather have a fourth down and medium than a fourth down and long. And Seattle is saying, you know what? I'm okay with you guys getting a fourth down and medium. We just don't want you to convert it here. So what Seattle's doing is they're going to be playing cover 4 zone right now, which is a very conservative play call. And Philadelphia is also going to play conservative, which is smart. You have to take what the defense gives you on this play. So they're going to send a receiver and a tight end running those two routes right there. and then they're just going to have their halfback run underneath, and they can try to pick up some yards. That's what they do. They're able to just flip the ball to Sanders. Nothing massive, but you know what? You gain some yards here. You get the ball to the 10-yard line, and now you have a chance. You only gained 6 yards, but now it's going to be a 4th down and 7. You have an opportunity to come through here, and at the end of the day, sometimes, I mean, especially with your backup quarterback in, I think you would tell yourself, you know what? Playing a team with 2 more wins than us with our backup quarterback in, we'll take one play to try to win it, or at least try to tie it in this case. I mean, even a touchdown wouldn't tie it. They still would need a 2-point conversion, but at least you have a chance here. The first thing you'll notice on this play is that McCown is going to actually alert here. See how he's touching his helmet like that? That's because he's simply just going to say, we're going to change up the play. We're going to be doing something else. We're not going to be doing what currently we had first designed. You know, typically on these plays, you have 2 plays that are called. You have your first play, and then you'll either alert or kill, or you have some sort of signal that moves to the second play. And so he sees something in the defense. He's changing it to the second play. And what he sees is that it's probably zone coverage. I mean, if you look at the Seattle linebackers, they're not all exactly lined up with potential players they should be covering. So this is going to give Philadelphia a pretty good idea that it's probably going to be zone coverage here. He doesn't know that for a fact, but he feels pretty confident. And so, really, that's actually a decent situation, because what they're going to do is they're going to have a tight end run that route right there. But then that's actually just going to sort of be a decoy. He's going to run that route, but then they're also going to have another receiver run that route, and that's the route they want to throw to, because essentially you're going to be expecting them to try to hit a tight end in a inside the 10 situation. But one of the problems is that they're actually double teaming him. So this now means that once this ball is snapped, you look at this situation, this is sometimes a great situation for the offense. If that first defensive back stays deep, then you can simply hit the receiver who's being a little bit more shallow. Hopefully he can just fall forward and gain a yard or two. He probably would be able to do that. You get the first down. You don't have to worry about the touchdown necessarily. You just want to get the first down. But the problem is that that Seattle player is doing a great job of making sure that he's in position to double team here and make sure that he doesn't allow a completion. And since that's what he's doing, this now means that the first Seattle defensive back in the area can now simply just allow the tight end to go past him, make sure he covers the receiver underneath, and make sure he doesn't allow him to get open. That's what he does. Plays it perfectly. Give him a lot of credit. That's Ugo Amadi who made the play. Great play. Understanding your situation. Taking away anything that McCown wants to throw it to. And now McCown has to basically just try to figure something out here. Looking around, there actually is a receiver who's up a little bit higher who maybe he could have thrown to, but he doesn't really want to make that throw. I mean, that's a risky play, and obviously he doesn't have too much time, so he has to make a decision quickly, and he does notice something. He notices that he has a room in between the edge rusher and defensive tackle, so potentially he could try to run for it here. I mean, hey, maybe not ideal, but given the circumstances, it can work out. It's definitely something that's worth a shot at least, so that's what he's going to try to do. But Clowney and Reed both do a great job of jumping into there, not allowing McCown to be able to get free, and they kind of just get him in an instant, so he doesn't have a chance to just throw it up and hope for the best, because they kind of surprised him with that tackle. Next thing he knows, he's on the ground, and just like that, the Seahawks were, I mean, that was the last play. The defense solved the game. You know, they were able to get a first down with a great DK Metcalf catch. And the rest is history. The Seattle Seahawks are now going to Green Bay, and that should be a fun game. I mean, kind of makes you think of the NFC Championship game for a couple years ago, one that I'm sure Packers fans would like to forget. That was, of course, the Brandon Bostic game. So it should be very interesting to see those two teams play each other once again. And for the Eagles, I mean, yeah, it sucks. You would have liked this to win. I mean, it definitely sucks for Carson Wentz. You know, he just can't stay healthy. It's really disappointing, because he is a good player, but he just can't seem to stay on the field. However, that being said, Seattle was banged up too, and they found a way to win. So, will they be able to go into Green Bay and get a win? I mean, that's going to be difficult. Both of those two teams kind of almost have the same brand, where they win ugly, They don't always play their best football, but they just seemingly find ways to win at the end. So, it'll be very interesting to see which team actually does end up finding a way to win at the end. I actually didn't predict either of them going to the NFC Championship game. I had the Saints going there, so I was off about that one for sure. I also thought that the Eagles were going to win this game. I could use the excuse that, well, there was a backup quarterback in, so that's why it didn't happen, but I don't think that's fair. I think I still deserve to be considered wrong about it, just simply because I don't think it was McCown's fault necessarily. I think the Seahawks played better than I expected them to, and so, I mean, they proved me wrong, so give them credit. But yeah, that's what I thought of this game. Let me know, who do you think is going to win, Packers or Seahawks? Let's start the conversation there, because I think it's going to be very interesting. I don't even know yet. I'm going to have to watch some tape. I mean, watch some more tape to try to figure it out, and just think about it a little bit too, of course. So, but yeah, I mean, that's what I thought of this game. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and as always, thanks for watching.